Took my heart away from money, I ain't interested in fame, and I pray that never change.
It's your boy Real Deal Boxing Talk coming at you with another one. I'm finna talk about this welterweight division, man. This powerhouse welterweight division. Right now we got Errol Spence, Danny Garcia about to fight. I already gave my prediction, so if you want to know my prediction, go to my page, my YouTube page, Real Deal Boxing Talk. You'll see that. That's up there already. I just want to talk about the division right now, the welterweight division. We got Manny Pacquiao, Sean Porter, Keith Thurman, Virgil Ortiz, and don't forget about Jamal James. We got Jamal James on fire. Jamal James just need the opportunity. Virgil Ortiz, they just need the opportunity. They there. They toward the bottom of the list, but they there. But if Errol Spence gets past Danny Garcia, I know the world would love to see Errol Spence and Crawford. Why not? It should be a good fight. And I'll put my prediction in on that too. But I think we have to see Errol Spence. Let's not wait, keep the world waiting and prolonging things. Let's have that fight now. If Errol Spence gets past Danny Garcia, we need to see Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford. That should be the next fight. I don't think Manny Pacquiao's jumping out there to fight Errol Spence. I know Errol Spence will want that fight, but I don't think Manny Pacquiao wants a young, hungry, still hungry champion. And I know he don't want a young, hungry champion in Terrence Crawford. So Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence might as well just meet, bypass Pacquiao, waiting for that big fight. I mean, I understand you beat Pacquiao, the legacy, you gain some of his fans or whatnot. I get all that. But at the end of the day, the biggest fight, I mean, what we need to see right now is Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford. Manny Pacquiao, that's a big fight though. But I understand why, like I said, I understand why Crawford and Spence will want to fight Pacquiao, because if you win, the things that come behind beating him, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, we still got Keith Thurman. We don't know what's going on with Keith. Keith's training, you know what I mean? He's still there. He's still, in my eyes, he's still one of the top welterweights. You know what I mean? Yeah, he lost to Pacquiao, but that don't mean we just throw him in the trash, throw him at the bottom. He's still at the top. He's still my top five, I think. You know what I'm saying? He's still top five. I think a lot of welterweights can't beat him, and I think a lot of welterweights will have trouble beating him. But you got to have a focused Keith Thurman. You know what I mean? You can't be so-called gambling before the fight, but we don't, that's in the air. We don't know I don't know if that was true or not, but I'm assuming it's true. But we don't know, right? You just got to be focused before you getting ready to fight. You should be in your room, sleep, resting, getting ready. He lost to Pacquiao, and I feel like a lot of people want to throw Keith Thurman away. Like, oh, yeah, he lost to Pacquiao. Pacquiao's a solid fighter, though. He's older, but Pacquiao stays in shape. He does whatever he needs to do in the Philippines, in his country, but at the end of the day, he stays in shape. Pacquiao, he may have lost a little bit, but Pacquiao still has them hands. Don't get it twisted, right? And Keith Thurman went in there and he was unfocused. He was unfocused and he lost. Period. He lost. Errol Spence, Crawford, we need to see that fight. Keith Thurman is still in the mix. I mean, Errol Spence don't, and I get it, if you've been paying attention to boxing and you've been seeing things, don't forget when Keith Thurman had a belt, he kept avoiding Errol Spence. So I don't have nothing. Errol Spence is doing exactly what he's supposed to do. Errol Spence is not worried about Keith Thurman because, first of all, you don't have no belt. Same thing you used to Errol Spence and avoid him. So we on the money fights. Keith Thurman, you drop down a little bit. Now Errol Spence is on top right now. So Errol Spence going to do his thing. So we definitely not going to see that fight. I would love to see Danny Garcia and Keith Thurman. I want to see that fight. Got to see that fight again. You know what I mean? That would be a good fight. Sean Porter's all over the place. He'll give any welterweight a problem. You hear me? Solid fighter. He comes forward, lets his hands go. He's like a mini Mike Tyson, right? But he comes in shape and he's a bully. I think that's his style. He needs to stick to that. You know what I mean? He could fight. He'll fight anybody. He gave Errol Spence a hell of a fight. Errol Spence pulled it out, but it was a good, solid fight. I do think Sean Porter beats Crawford. That's my opinion, but that's another video. We ain't gonna touch on that right now. Keith Thurman, he's still there. I can see Keith Thurman fighting Porter. That would be a good fight, but I don't think he'd do that coming back. But I'd like to see that fight again, definitely. So I honestly, and then there's Virgil Ortiz and Jamal James. At the end of the day, Virgil Ortiz, I think Keith Thurman should fight Virgil Ortiz or even Jamal James. Like, But I know how it is, you know, coming from the bottom. You have to earn your spot, and then you gotta hope you get the shot. You know what I mean? You gotta hope one of these top guys give you a shot and you know, make it happen or whatever. But at the end of the day, man, the welterweight division is stacked. Like I said, we got Manny Pacquiao, we got Sean Porter, Keith Thurman, Virgil Ortiz, and Jamal James, Earl Spence, and there's more names, but I'm gonna just go. You know, those are the top guys that are in the mix, in the circle of the world. You know, we talk about. But there's a lot more coming up too, you know what I mean, at the end of the day. But like I said, the welterweight division is stacked. We need to see these fights, but we need to focus on, I think the world needs to pump that Earl Spence and Terrence Crawford. If Earl Spence beats Danny Garcia, there should be no reason why we don't see Earl Spence and Terrence Crawford. And the fight could be made easy. If the fight isn't made, I believe it's made because either somebody's running, and I don't think it's PBC. But I ain't gonna speak on Top Rank. You know, they doing their thing with their fighters, and however they move, right? Keeping belts in-house and things like that. That's the boxing game, and that's what it is, you know what I mean? And for y'all real fans, know what I'm talking about. When I say keeping a belt in-house, you would understand if you watch the fights and know what I'm talking about. But I ain't gonna, that's a whole nother video, right? At the end of the day, we wanna see Earl Spence and Crawford. I'm putting it out there, put it in the air with the magic. I'm sprinkling the dust. Let's see it. We ain't got time for nothing else. I don't know what Sean Porter doing. I don't know what his next move is. Keith Thurman. Everybody training. Fights is coming up. But at the end of the day, we want to see Earl Spence. So Earl Spence got to get past Danny Garcia. And then we want to see Terrence Crawford. You had the fans for Terrence Crawford. Oh, yeah, you'll beat Spence. And then there's fans for Earl Spence. And you'll beat Crawford. And then people are giving all these reasons why this had happened during a fight and this had happened during a fight. And then you could even go back to Terrence Crawford. He got the belt from Jeff Horn, when Jeff Horn beat Pacquiao, right? So people could even say, even in my DM, I had people say, oh, well, Pacquiao was robbed. Jeff Horn didn't deserve that fight. That's what people say. I'm not saying that, but I seen the fight. I have my opinion, but I can make another whole video on that too, right? It's so many things you can keep saying. Jeff Horn shouldn't have had the belt. Pacquiao should have had it. And then if Pacquiao had it and Terrence Crawford jumped up, you got to really think now. Would Terrence Crawford would have jumped up and fought Pacquiao right away at 147? You see what I'm saying? Or was Jeff Horn an easy lick to get that belt and was kind of handed the belt? You know what I mean? But you still got to go in there and fight for it. So I don't want to say you hand, but you know, people just talk. This is what I'm saying. Some of my DMs and people just sending me information and things like that, and just stuff to talk about. So you got to look at all that, man. But this your boy, Real Deal Boxing Talk. Like I said, man, we want to see Earl Spence and we want to see Terrence Crawford. This is what we want to see. It's your boy. Like, subscribe, and leave a comment.